I've seen a lot of copywriters and business owners over the years, quite frankly, really struggle with a hook. Now, when you understand that even in the most grandiose, the most cinematic, let's make a big deal feeling out of this type of direct response clickbank style VSL, a hook still needs to be based on positioning. That's why positioning is the hook. But there are smoking guns that you can point to. This right here, Executive Order 12291, that is a smoking gun for everything wrong with American people's health today. Ronald Reagan sold people out. And I can easily make the case for it without lying, without making anything up, and truly showing people something that they should know, just like I showed them what happened with the 1978 McGovern report. The When big food, big meat, big sugar, big salt, all of them came to Washington and started lobbying against what the government can or can't say. That was in 1978. This is 1981. So within just a few years, the United States government really did change everything. But it was Executive Order 12291 that gave corporations, for profit corporations that could also be publicly traded corporations, which require growth. It gave them carte blanche to say whatever they wanted as long as they can justify profits. So they can say whatever they want about their food, even if it's not actually food, and they'll get away with it as long as they can justify the profits. Now, right here, you see where rates were, and here you can see how they doubled in such a short amount of time, 20 years. And the other things that go with it, insulin resistance, type 3 diabetes, now type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes. Now, in advertising, you can't talk about diabetes. Talk about insulin resistance. I'll get to that in a second. Now, because I did put together a lead for you. Now, it's super important to recognize what will get people to raise their hand, that it can't just be something that's shocking. It has to be something that's relevant, based in truth. And in this case, it really does show people why the health problems that we do have are so prevalent. And that's an amazing thing. So I'm going to go over here. This is the lead that I put together here for this quick demonstration. Now, first of all, as I say here in the comment, this is tame. It can hit a lot harder. But this is a reassociation opening. It's saying that whatever we put here isn't what you think it is. So whatever you think it is, what these things, the problems that you have, whatever we say we want you to think it is, which a lot of people would think that it would be normal aging to go through all of these hardships, but it's not that. And at the bottom here, sorry, hold on. At the bottom here, I put this one. Nope, it wasn't here. Oh yeah. Uh I put this can hit harder, especially if we're going after a specific problem. Now I put here the insulin resistance in the brain, which is type 3 diabetes. And it's a very real thing. And I put in here about my mother who died of Alzheimer's. She was I'm not going to even get into that story, but it if when we add that, That's the infusion of the specificity that I allude to up there. It adds heart and soul to this. And then it gives me a reason why there should be urgency, because if I really am blowing the whistle on something real, you know, then it makes sense. Now, even just from an advertising perspective, maybe I stop spending on this tomorrow. So there's authentic reasons why people need to watch this now. Obviously, I'm not going to stop it tomorrow if it's making money, but the case still remains. Now we're getting into intrigue, curiosity, anger, right? Because we're saying your doctor didn't even know. Now, maybe they really love their doctor. Maybe they already think their doctors don't know anything. Either way, I'm going to hit you with that undeniable proof, which creates more curiosity and dopamine. Now I'm getting to the deeper core of then the smoking gun. So the claim, the deeper core claim that all of my mechanism is going to be based on, which is the damage that what they let companies do because of letting them go after gross profits, damage the second brain, the gut brain. But we'll get to that. Oh, and the undeniable proof. People's need a debate, right or wrong, good or bad. It brings that out, and more people are all about that. By the end of the video, so this is like the 50,000 foot view, open loop, from way up here. Here's what you're going to kind of figure out. And then just, really getting into that hidden enemy feel, which is super important. The injustice. So we do so many things when we feel like there's injustice. You see it a lot in politics right now. Anybody who feels that the left or right, whether they're on left or right, feels that the other side did or said something that triggers their injustice, they will let you know all about it. Powerful, powerful psychology. More dopamine, curiosity, the more injustice right here, the injustice responses. A lot of people are going to really wonder, why haven't I heard about this? The fact that it is such a big deal. Now, I showed you this initially because I wrote this as a Substack article. And then I saw, oh, wow, there's a great positioning hook here. And that's what got me here doing this video for you. And this is just the day in the life of a copywriter. Now, we get into, I could drop a ton more here. Now, the date it actually happened, and then what it's actually called. So I'm not just keeping it blind throughout. And then what it did and what it's about. And then right here, I came up with an ad, where people buy a Whopper and put it in their closet for a year and take it out. It looks exactly the same because it doesn't have enough nutrition to grow mold. Make a great ad and show that, companies shouldn't actually get away with that because that's poison. And yet they sell it for record profits. Bada bing, bada boom. So, and I can show so many instances of that, or ways that food companies make their foods literally addictive, like cocaine. So, and that's been done before, but it's never been done before with so much anchored specificity or smoking gun with the 1981 bill. And then we got our new cause, the reason why everything else didn't work. Because everything that you were calling food was actively working against. So instead of saying it's not your fault, right? And then we have more of that down below. And here you can see this is necessary repetition. You can see that for yourself. I'll drop this in the link. And by the way, don't swipe this. I'm not showing you so you swipe. I'm showing you so you can see how in my research in coming up with why are the foods on our shelves the foods on our shelves? Let's break that down. And then I just started, there's got to be certain deregulations that happen. Led me to Reagan, led me to the bill, led me to this video. Those are the breadcrumbs that make investigative journalists famous and copywriters rich, business owners rich. I dropped the big type 3, which is probably pushing it because that's an implied claim. FTC hates implied claims. Um, reiterating the injustice, the profits over people, and the true core of Executive Order 122, which I started out here in the framing of this very video. So, okay. Then we got more repetition. I asked you, is that necessary repetition? Open loop for my story. And that is where I left it off. Now, there is, well, it's here it is. That's dropping the introduction to the supplement. So keeping it blind. And I could anchor it down to a hero ingredient, not a supplement, and, get more braggadocious, talk about, where this ingredient came from or how it's been used for thousands of years or, whatever trope slash truth that you can make to create more dopamine, trigger more injustice, really get over the positioning hook. But this is just a perfect example. And then we can take this and go over here and this keyboard. Give me a shorter, blunter, more aggressive, still truthful and compliant, but much more aggressive both in tone and my real voice that is helping warn people about this, what we're talking about. And I'm keeping it blind. I don't want you to reveal anything that I haven't revealed already. That's not your job. What I want is to have you help me say this in different ways so I can see what gets the most universal hand raising. So I don't like this. It doesn't hit hard enough, but you can see how now we're going to start collaborating. Now, this is copy prompting and positioning prompting. So that doesn't hit nearly hard enough, nor does it spell out why this should matter to me, what the consequences in my life are, and the bigness of this reveal. How is this not on CNN today? The fact that there is a legit smoking gun to our food supply literally being poisoned. The government is poisoning the American people because as long as corporations can prove profitability, they will not contest it. They will not investigate their processing, their formulas, their ingredients, their chemicals, any of it. Here is where we started, right? So here's where I something around here, one of these. So you can see that I worked with it and created something very much more specific. I took all the there's no mention of the product or anything like that. So you can see that there's a lot of copy chiefing that I did just to do this video. So I'm gonna leave it there. I want to hear your ideas. What are ways that you get to the big idea, to the positioning hook that is legitimately a way to build $100 million VSL or funnel on? And this idea, based on my experience in affiliate marketing and cold traffic marketing, has that ability. Let me know in the comments and ask your questions in the comments. And if it is possible, I will answer them there. Please, this is a new channel, like and subscribe. I also have, you have to put it full in until I figure it out, HTTPS colon www copyprompting.com. Check it out. I have over 25 hours worth of long form demonstrations that get much more in depth about this stuff and the elements and the heuristics, the psychology that I use to do what I do, how I program AI to leverage everything that I do and know to consistently convert and out convert other business owners, other top copywriters, and how you can do it too. So check it out, copyprompting.com with all the stuff before it because of my inept ass. All right. Thanks, guys. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.